Hopefully y'all can hear me okay. What is up, FLocers? That is my fellow lockers and aspiring lockers. And we are beyond the time of needing a retie. We are at going on 8 weeks now. Try to get y'all a little bit closer. And like I said, we are beyond the point of needing a retie. So, oh, is that too close? That's close. All right. It is time to get to it today. So I got my little retie pouch right here. And in this pouch, I'm going to get out my elastic band things that I use to tie my hair up. All right, just checking to make sure the audio is working okay. And I don't use clips. I know some people like to use clips. I don't use clips. I don't use water. I literally just retie and I tie my hair up. And then I also have my retie tool, which is just a little needle. It started out a lot longer, but I cut it in half and then whittled it down so that it has a little point. And that's what I'm going to be using today to retie. All right, so I like to, here, let me just go ahead and show y'all what we're working with. We're at, like I said, 7.5, closer to 8 weeks since I've had a retie. So it's time. But as you can see, we have a lot of new growth. Okay, so let me check just to make sure my feed is still coming through. Okay, it is. I don't know why on my computer it froze, but whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I like to section my hair off into 2 sections because that's what works for me, but you gotta do what works for you. So go on and do my left side up and also get my right side up. I like to work with one at a time. Like I said, I don't use clips, so I'm not going to be sectioning my hair off, or sorry, clipping my hair away. But when you don't use clips, you need to be very careful so that you don't accidentally combine locks. Okay, and I can see I did not do a great job with that. Now that I'm on camera, I'm sitting here making a mess, but that's alright. Okay, so we'll start with these. Alright, so I got my tool, and I'm just going to thread the needle and start. Now I do everything by feel. Like I said, I'm not using clips, and I'm not using like any mirrors or anything to see. I'm not big on trying to make sure my lines or anything are crisp, so I do just go through and start. I do use my fingers to guide myself so I know that I'm sticking within that particular lock, and I will use my fingers to gather the hairs and kind of twist them around to make sure that any hairs that are shorter or that have grown outside of the lock get incorporated as I'm doing this portion. Right, and I do 4-point rotation on my locks, so I'm not going to sit here and talk the whole time, but just figured that at least in the beginning I can show y'all. Alright, and I can't get through a whole nother 4-point rotation, so on this one I want to end going down So it ends with just like a 2-point rotation, I guess. Alright, so one down, few hundred left to go. And actually, I'm about to turn something on for me to watch, or at least listen to, so that way I'm not sitting here in silence. Although y'all will be sitting here in silence just because I don't know with copyright laws. I'm not trying to get in trouble for that, so I won't have any shower songs playing in the background. Alright, 2 down, and like I said, we're just going to keep repeating this. And literally go one by one and just take one down at a time. And work on that one at a time. And I know some people like to, oop, you see that? I already combined in 2, and we're just in the beginning. I know some people like to use water to spritz their locks before. I don't spray my locks before. I just don't like, one, because when they're wet, they're slippery and harder for me to grip. And 2, you know, when your hair is wet or damp, it's stretched and elongated, and so I don't want to run the risk of having my hair stretched a little bit, and then when it dries, it's tighter. You know, run the risk of tightening too tight, and then once it dries, it's like extra tight. So I do dry retightnings on myself. To each their own, though. I know there's a lot of people that either use water or rose water on their locks, and they've been doing it that way for a long time, and it works out, and they don't have any issues. How long does your retie usually take? So I don't ever sit down and do a retie in one session. I just don't, I've never done it in one session. I always break it up into 2. And I do about 3 hours on day 1 and 3 hours on day 2. I usually do it at night when I'm watching TV or something. But yeah, it usually takes me, so I guess if you total it all up, about 6 hours. But like I said, that's over a 2-night period. If I weren't watching something and taking breaks to use the bathroom or possibly eat in between, then it would probably go a little bit quicker. But I'm not in a rush to do this, so I just take my time. Alright, and my goal is to always finish going down, so north to south. But like I said, sometimes because I have different growth rates, so some locks have more rotations that I can get through than others. So if I see myself when I'm, you know, on the 3rd rotation that I'm not going to be able to get a 4th one in, then on that 3rd rotation, I'll either go north to west, or gosh, come on, D, north to south, or I'll do like a diagonal. So it's kind of like northeast to southwest, so that it still ends going in a downward direction. for this one, again, I'm in that one going down diagonally. Right. People watching the replay are probably going to think I'm crazy and be like, why are you laughing? But I was reading the comments because I'm out here giving cardinal directions, and in the comments they said getting confused with Kanye's kids, talking about Northwest. So true. I can't chew gum and walk at the same time, so when I'm retying, trying to say the direction that I'm retying while I'm retying, that's a losing game every time. Well, yeah, we just started and my arms are already tired. Alright, so as you can see, it goes relatively quickly. I mean, we've been at this for a few minutes, and I feel like we're making progress. Have you ever had someone else retire your locks, or have you always done it? So I've done my own locks since day one. My first lock journey ever, I did go to a loctician in Atlanta, Kala, shout out to her. She did my first lock install, traditional locks, and loved them, loved her. But since then, I have just done it myself. I don't know, I just like the fact that I can do it myself and do it on my own time, not have to schedule it on someone else's time. So yeah, I've always, since then, in every lock journey, done my locks myself and maintained them myself, whether it was, like I said, traditional locks where I was retwisting myself, or now with my Microlocs, I established them myself and I retied them myself. But I'm not gonna lie, there have been times where I've been like, dang, should I just find a loctician and let them do it so that I can relax in the chair for a few hours and not have to do it myself? But for me, it always goes back to, I mean, a lot of factors. It goes back to saving money. It goes back to me being, I don't know, there's a pride in doing it yourself sometimes. But the biggest thing for me is scheduling. You know, when you got a lot of other responsibilities and things, sometimes it can be hard to match your schedule with someone else's to be able to go, and Lord forbid you get on the schedule, but then your loctician gets sick or something comes up and they got to bump you. So I like being able to determine when it's going to get done. Like I said, we're on week 8. Typically, before this I was retying at week 6, week 5, week 6, but I decided to push it out, give my scalp and my locks a chance to breathe. And I've been enjoying allowing that time. Ooh, yeah, I wasn't lying when I said my arms are getting tired. All right, let's move across a little bit. And for anyone wondering, I do not have a grid pattern. When I installed them, I didn't install them with any grid. I did freeform part, not freeform, but just parted how I saw fit. Pretty much used my finger and scooped. So my locks are different sizes, all within the realm of being micro, but I've got some tinier ones, some thicker ones. If you retie with shorter periods of time between reties, does your hair, or do your reties go faster? Yes, they do. So that's, to me, well, there's multiple negatives to waiting longer, especially if you're in the beginning of your lock journey. I don't think when you're in the beginning of a Microloc journey, Sisterlocks, whatever, that you should stretch your reties out just because it can lead to some issues. But I think the biggest thing when it comes to reties is the longer you wait, the longer it's going to take to do it. So if at 6 weeks I would have been able to get this done in 6 hours, at 8 weeks it might take me, who knows, 6.5, 7 hours to finish this set because of the extra amount of regrowth that I have. New growth. I don't know why I always call it regrowth. I got some hair down here, which I don't know where that hair came from. I don't know if it came out another lock or if it's just hair in the kitchen that decided it wanted to grow. But I haven't decided if I want to incorporate it into another lock or if I want to start a new one down here as it grows out. So this may become a lock in and of itself one day. But right now I'm just letting it hang tight. Tight. I really should, because it's a big chunk of hair. It's not like it's just a few strands. It's clearly enough to make an entire new lock out of. And to anybody thinking about retying their own hair, I wouldn't, see, look, I don't know if y'all can see it, but I almost retied another one and I was literally about to to make mention about that. Anyone thinking about doing it themselves, I'm not recommending doing it this way where you put your hair up and just pull one down at a time, because that's already like the second or third time that I've had to, I didn't retie them together, but I almost incorporated 2 locks into one. Thankfully, I always catch it as I'm doing it before it's too late, but it's definitely an easy possibility to combine locks if you're not using clips to separate. And I have clips in my little bag. I've got two different types of clips. I got the duckbill clips, and then I've got these smaller clips. But I think I tried retying with these once or twice, and it was fine, but I just feel like it adds more time to the retie itself because you spend so much time having to move it and make sure that you don't have hairs. It was too much for me. So yeah, it is feeling left out. You're right. I need to not let it be that child that gets left on the side, the black sheep of the family. I hope the audio is decent. I got this wireless mic on, and this is my first time doing a live with this, so I don't know. And I'm talking at a normal volume, but I don't know. I've got it pretty close, high up on my shirt, so if I'm super loud, let me know, and I can readjust it so it's not so close to my mouth. I just don't want it to be so quiet that y'all like can't hear anything you're saying. Okay, perfect. Thank you for letting me know that. I just recently got this itch to dye my hair back to black, and I don't know if I should do that or not. It's almost been a year, I think, since I put the color in, and I love the color, but there's something about just a set of dark locks that just looks great. I don't know. But what I would hate is to let the FLocers choose. I should let the FLocers choose because I'm really on the fence. I would hate to dye it black and then 2 months later be like, dang, I missed the color. Because obviously it's a lot of strain to put on your hair to be bleaching it. So one thing I know I don't want to do is to process my hair anymore with lifter or bleach or anything like that. So if I were to go back to black, it's gonna have to stay black for some time. Maybe I'll do a poll at some point and ask the FLocers. That last one I ended going east to west, and I feel like it's tight enough. I'm not gonna risk trying to get another rotation in. I'd rather end going a weird direction than to stress my scalp or my lockout trying to fit in an extra rotation just so I can end it going down. I probably will get tired of looking at the wall. But so far, I'm good because you've been chatting with me. I think if I was just in here by myself without someone chatting with me, it would get old real fast. So thank you for keeping me company. I was gonna face the camera the other way and watch something on TV, but it's a winter break here. I don't know if it's winter break everywhere, but it's winter break in Atlanta. So all the kids are home. So I don't know if at some point there's going to be kids running in my room or anything like that. So I wanted to at least get on a wall where I know nobody was going to be walking in front of me. But for future lives, if I do them in here, I will probably face a different direction. And what even is winter break? I mean, we're at the end of February, and them children's was just out for Christmas break and for New Year's, a hop, skip, and a month ago. So why are they on a full week break already again? That's so true. Um, it does help us to appreciate the school and the teachers and the faculty and staff so much more. My mother actually is a retired English teacher, and so I already had a lot of respect for teachers and what they do just because my whole life growing up I saw all that went into her being a teacher. You know, I would go with her to help her set up her classroom at the beginning of the year and help her break it down. Um, so how she'd be coming home grading papers till all sorts of hours of the night. She was a high school teacher. Um, so yeah, but now that I have my own kids, I definitely appreciate teachers on a whole different level and what they do and the things that they put up with. Especially these kids today. I feel like these kids are out here wilding out, fighting teachers and stuff like that. My mom always jokes and says it's a good thing she's not teaching right now with these kids these days because she said I would have been in jail because I'd be darned before I sit there and let a child beat on me. I actually used to work at a daycare too. Um, so that also helped me to appreciate what what teachers and educators go through. Working at that daycare definitely helped teach me that working with folks' kids is not my gifting. I mean, I feel like I'm great with kids, so I don't want to say it's not my gifting. It's not my, what's the word? It's not something that I'm passionate about. You know, if it was just like playing sports and things out like that, outdoor things, that would be fun. But the educational part, that's a lot. You know, it's one thing to organize kids for games and fun and sports and stuff. But it's a whole different level when you're having to get them to be quiet and attentive in a classroom and to pay attention and to engage them and get them to where they're learning. So, yeah, like I said, huge appreciation for teachers and what they do. How was quarantine and having to teach your children? So during quarantine, we only had one, thankfully, because the second one is a whole different beast of a child. She's a lot of fun, but she's a lot of work. She and her sister are very different when it comes to temperament and whatnot. So homeschooling, we did it in our basement just because we felt like we needed to change up the scenery, because trying to homeschool and do it in the same space that we were working in, because we both work from home, but to try and do homeschooling like in that same space every day that we work in, it just wasn't working out for us. And so we decided to set up a classroom down in the basement. So we had like went and got a bunch of age appropriate posters and stuff to put on the wall, educational stuff to learn, because at that time Tori was in kindergarten. And so we were doing alphabet and learning to read sight words and things like that, association of different words. And so, but we had a lot of fun doing it. It was a lot of work, working and teaching full time, but I feel like it again helped us to appreciate 10 times more what teachers go through. And it also helped us to, I feel like Tori was ahead of well, I don't want to say a lot of her classmates, but I feel like those who weren't fortunate enough to have parents who were able to homeschool them during quarantine and give them that type of attention, I feel like she was able to get ahead, and excel in certain subjects. So it was mostly a positive experience for us, but it also tested our patience, which is probably why my mom never taught in the same high schools that me or my two sisters went to, because she just refused to have to be around her kids, and then didn't want to, risk if your child gets in trouble and then another teacher's like, you need to come get your kid or whatever, because she's like, nah, if I have to come to your classroom to discipline my own child, I'm taking my child out this world. So yeah, she never worked at the same schools that we went to, and I don't blame her, because it's a lot. For Tori, I think it was hard at times to comprehend why mommy and daddy all of a sudden were bringing worksheets and stuff and making her do the things that she was having to do in school before. We tried to make it as fun as possible and incorporate videos and other things, but your kids don't want to learn from you as opposed to learning from other people. And then because, like I said, we were also working our full-time job, so trying to incorporate time outside and getting fresh air, PE, exercise and stuff got to be challenging sometimes. Yeah, my mom didn't play. My mom doesn't play. She's from Chicago. Both sides of my family are from Chicago, so they don't play that. They're old school. They don't get down with any of that gentle parenting stuff that people talk about nowadays. But let them turn into grandparents. Once they turn into grandparents, all of a sudden they get soft. Like they'll be quick to comment on how you parent and your parenting style. But as soon as you drop your kids off at their house, all of a sudden they want to act brand new and talk about oh, well, I gave her chocolate at 10:30 p.m. because she asked for it. Like, really, mom? You and dad never would have let us have sweets before bed when we were 6 years old, but because she asked for it, you thought that. Grandparents be killing me, man. I love them though. They are lifesavers and amazing. But it's just funny how all of a sudden all that hard parenting and stuff that we got growing up, it doesn't exist anymore for the grandkids. I'm like, excuse me. What happened to the Chicago when you got real soft all of a sudden? Excuse me. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. Give them chocolate and send them to my mom's. Exactly. We need to reverse this on them. Next time I'm going to bring them over to your house and they're already going to be on their little sugar binge. Oh, I need some water. And of course I didn't bring any in here. I'm just sitting here choking on live. Where did the inspiration for your locks come from? Did anyone in your family have them when you were growing up? So no, from what I can recall, nobody in my family had locks when I was growing up. I'm trying to think. Honestly, my inspiration came from two of my friends. I have one of them who still has locks to this day, and then the other one who is now rocking the bald Mr. Clean look. He actually was featured on my channel a while back. Gosh, it's probably been a year since I interviewed him. But yeah, he was on my channel. He had locks down to his butt, Jerome. But once he started noticing that he was balding in some places, he decided to let it go. He didn't want to be like some people out here who had locks receding and hanging on to 10 locks and whatnot. So he decided to go ahead and wrap that up and cut that off. But my other friend, Kristen, she also, both of them, so both of them got locks in high school. I would say freshman, no, sophomore or junior year, I believe. In high school, they got locks. And I just love the way that their hair looked. They both started with 2-strand twists. So Jerome's hair when he started, because, you know, he was doing cornrows before that. So he had pretty long hair when he started. And Kristen's hair was also pretty long. Probably about the same length. But it's funny looking back at pictures of them because it goes back to just hair type and whatnot and hair pattern. But her hair shrunk up. Both of their hair shrunk up a lot. But her hair went from being like down here to all of a sudden being up here. Hey, no, you didn't miss anything. You're good. You're good. Oh, wow. Thank you. I be green. I don't even know how that works, but thank you. I really appreciate it. What's I saying? Oh, Chris. So their hair acted so differently. Both of them had 2-strand twists. They both got their locks installed, probably within months of each other. Um, but her locks shriveled up a whole lot and took a long time before they started to drop and whatnot. And like I said, they both grew their hair out, you know, never cutting it. Both grew their hair out to butt length. And then Kristen's locks to this day, she still keeps them like below bra strap, but not all the way down to her butt. Um, and I guess we'll trim them as they grow out. And then, like I said, Rome, he's rocking the bald Mr. Clean look these days. And it looks good on him. So he's able to rock the bald head and make it look good. But now you ask, was there anyone in my family? You crack me up. Get yourself some water for your next live. I know that's right. Thank you so much. Um, the my cousin. So my cousin Toddy, she now has locks. She has traditional locks. Um, and she started hers a little bit before I started this Microloc journey. So, and her hair was a little bit longer, so she's already able to throw hers back in a ponytail. And those that have been on this channel know that I love all locks. So I think her locks are amazing. They look wonderful. They fit her really well. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody with locks that didn't look good with locks. Well, I take that back. I don't think I've ever seen anybody who was highly melanated with locks that didn't look good with locks. But I have seen some white people with locks where their locks actually look good. But most of the white people with locks that I've seen, because they started with like some crazy contraption, like some honey or beeswax or something, it ended up looking a hot mess. But those that I guess went and got their locks started by a black loctician and got it done right from the beginning came out with their locks looking all right. But yeah, besides seeing some people who maybe are rocking locks past their lock prime and maybe should have let it go at that point, like I said, when you're severely balding but trying to hold on to your last 2 or 3 locks. Besides that, I don't think I've ever walked past someone or seen somebody with locks that I didn't think they didn't look good with them. The only kind of locks that I'm still, I guess, not trying to understand, but they don't do it for me, I guess, as much as as other locks, is just the new ones that I've seen recently. And it's not all freeform, because I've seen some freeform locks that I love and think look amazing, but it's this like new style where the freeform locks, like this person's got a ton of thick, dense hair, but then they've got like 3 locks total because each lock is the size of an arm, and it's given like Marge Simpson. So those are the kind of locks where I'm just like, I don't fully get it, but hey, that's the aesthetic you're going for, more power to you. Ooh, at this point, I'm ready to throw in the towel. No, I'm just joking. Okay, so you mess with the big and the few freeforms. See, and I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I'm still trying to get it, but maybe I just haven't looked at the right ones. Because I'm sure there are people out there that rock it and it looks really good. Yes, the reties do take hours. But I'm not going to keep y'all that long. I'm not going to do the whole thing today. I'm going to do part of it today and then probably finish tomorrow. Oop, oop, oop. You see, I'm over here not paying attention and about to combine something. So see, y'all get to see live me fixing a mistake that I about made. But like I said, that's the important thing, is that you catch it. Like before you thread things through. Alright, so there we go. I was able to pull it out before I fully threaded it. So as long as you catch it before you pull that thing all the way through, then you're good. I have combined 2 locks a couple of times when retying. Thankfully, it was a not too painful of a dissecting surgery to get them apart. But I know one day if I'm not careful, I'm gonna mess around and combine 2 to a point where I can't get them undone. Just started my Braidlocs a month and a half ago. Haven't done a retie yet. Any advice? Are you going to be doing the reties yourself? If you are, some advice that I would give you is to not do what I'm doing. One of those, what is it? Do as I say, not as I do. Because I just sat here on camera twice and almost combined locks multiple times since I started this live. Yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so yeah, I would get you some clips. And even though it's going to take you a little bit longer, I would use clips while you're retying and get you a couple of them, and you know, wherever you're trying to do, just put that clip in so that you can section off your hair so that you're not accidentally combining locks as you do it. So me not using clips is just a form of laziness and trying to get through my retie quicker, but that can be to the detriment. Can't talk and tie at the same time, like chew gut. Exactly, I really can't. I'm sitting here talking and combining locks accidentally. But yeah, get you some clips and tie your hair off. At least until you get real good at it and you feel comfortable doing your reties. You know, once you've done it a few times and you feel comfortable just using your fingers to guide you, then you'll be good. But I would say in the beginning, use clips, because even with clips in, I've still combined sometimes. So I know some people use mirrors, or you can use your phone to project, like to a TV, to put your phone behind you and cast it onto the TV so that you can see what you're doing in the back. So that's also another way that you can kind of guide yourself and see what you're doing. Again, that's to each their own. It's obviously going to take a lot more time, but at least you eliminate the risk of combining your locks accidentally. And more advice, never retie your hair too tight. It's better for it to be looser and you have to go back and do your next retie sooner than for you to put it too tight because you want it to be extra crisp. Because I'm doing it right now and it's not hurting as I'm doing it, but every time after I'm done with the retie, my scalp doesn't hurt, but it's definitely a little tender, just because, I mean, I guess you can kind of say that it's like rug burn, rope burn, whatever. Because, you know, with your hair being coarse and stuff and pulling through and rubbing on your scalp multiple times as you're feeding it through. So your scalp is going to be a little bit tender, a little bit sore. So I would say keep that in mind as you're doing it, and don't over tighten. Anything you should do before retiring to prep or after retiring besides taking some Tylenol? I know that's right. Um, and see, I know I've heard some horror stories of people when they go to the loctician having to take Tylenol or Advil before because they know they're going to get headaches. I thankfully don't get headaches from doing reties, but like I said, my scalp is a little bit tender afterwards. Um, and that's with me not retightening too tightly and being gentle, but that's just the nature of it. Uh, to prep, I I try to wash my hair a couple of, like a day or two before, just so my scalp is fresh. And then after I wash, I personally I use oil on my scalp, a little bit on my scalp, and then some on my locks, just because I think not not because I mean I do it anyways, but I think right before retie, it, you know, softens up your locks a little bit so that your hair is as dry and as coarse, so you get a little bit of less of that rug burn and pain that comes later from all the pulling through. Afterwards, I guess I would just try to do your reties earlier in the day if possible, which that's me doing the opposite of what or saying the opposite of what I do, because usually I do it after the kids are asleep at night for a few hours before I go to bed. But at least if you do it, let's say at noon on like a Saturday, because you're probably working during the week, um, then you give your scalp a chance to kind of cool off and relax a little bit. Because if you go straight from retying your hair to going to bed and having to lay on it, like I said, your scalp is already irritated from this process, already tender. And so then you go straight to lying on it and you're going to feel it a little bit. So if you could possibly carve out yourself a little time, a window, kind of like they say, you know, don't be on your phone right before bed. Don't retie your hair right before bed, so that you give your scalp a little time to breathe and recuperate before lying down. Would you ever retie someone else's hair? That's a good question. I honestly have never thought about it, just because no one that I know personally has Sisterlocks or Microlocs. All my friends that I do know that have locks all have traditional locks. And I've started people's locks before. Like, I've started people's traditional lock journeys. I've started people's instant locks where I've used the Afro Kinky bulk human hair and made locks for them. So probably. I mean, I don't think I would ever try to do it like on a regular to be charging people, but if somebody asked me, yeah. Like it's always been in exchange for something before. I had a friend who he is an amazing musician and producer and produces music, and so I wanted to record some songs. And anyone that knows about music and having a producer and whatnot to do your music and possibly play instruments on them and stuff, that stuff gets extremely expensive, and recording time also gets extremely expensive. And so it was an exchange. Like I created his locks for him with instant lock method, and then I installed them for him. And in exchange, he recorded a few songs for me and did the instruments and stuff. So that was really cool. I do sing. I don't know if I sing well, but yeah, I do sing. I haven't recorded anything in a long time, but mostly singing in church these days. But actually, when I lived in Russia, I was formed a band with one of my best friends over there. He still lives in Russia actually, but he's from Congo, and he's lived in Russia for like what 20 years now or something. And when I got there, when I met him, he was already working in the music industry and traveling and doing shows and stuff. And so once he found out that I sang, he asked me to join the group, and all his history from there. So then, yeah, we started doing shows and touring around Russia and some neighboring countries. Can we find your music anywhere? I mean, I don't know if I'm trying to. No. Yeah, I have a couple of songs on Spotify. Um, ooh, I'm gonna have to look. Dang, I'm recording on my phone, so I can't even look. Hold on. What is my? I got so many names and stuff. It's what is my name on Spotify? I think it's David J, DavidJay, on Spotify, and the album or the EP is called Love. One of the songs that's on there that I am very proud of actually is called Bullet of Cop, which I wrote some years ago. Oop, you found it. See, look at that. The FLocers be on it, man. But yeah, Bullet of Cop is probably the song that I'm the most proud of. I wrote all the songs on that album. And actually, so I had a producer, but I came up with the music and played it on guitar for him, and then he does his magic and makes it sound way better than I can actually play on the guitar. But yeah, Bullet of Cop is the one that I'm most proud of. I wrote that song while I was in Russia because that was when it was like the height of all these phone recordings and unarmed black men being killed left and right. And I was in Russia, and I just felt so helpless and defenseless over there to make any change or do anything. So I was like, let me write a song about it. And the producer that I was working with over there that actually did the music on that song, and he is extremely talented. And if you listen to it, you'll hear it in the instrumentation, all live instruments and whatnot. But yeah, it's a storytelling song. But that one, all the songs mean a lot to me, but that one is probably my favorite. That one, and then the one called Love, because one of my really good friends, Kendra, sang on that song with me, and she has a ridiculous voice. Yeah, it's a deep song. Thank you. Thank you. Ooh, You know, you start getting tired when you start feeling it in your elbow. Like literally, oh my word. Hey, cousin. I was just talking about you and telling them about your locks because somebody asked me if, thank you, by the way, but somebody asked me if you, or not if you, if where my inspiration for my lock journey came from, if I had anyone in my family who had locks. I got you in your feels. And I said that I didn't have anyone growing up in my family that had locks, but I do have a cousin right now who has locks and they look amazing. I told you that song Bullet a Cop, like that one will probably go down forever as one of the songs that I will be most proud of forever. In my music, I like to, I guess, like I said, storytell and not just throw out the topic out there. So I wanted the song to sound like a love song, like a love ballad, but also to tell a story of what a scenario could be like. And so that's what Bullet a Cop is about. It's a very sad but true reality for a lot of black men. Shoot, and black women while we keeping it 100. Go get your napping, cuz. Love you. Thanks for stopping in. Y'all have really made this live so much fun because I had no expectations of what today was going to be like. I obviously didn't announce it beforehand. I just knew I needed to start working on this hair because my oh, I don't even know if I can. Well, I don't think she watches my channel, so I don't have to worry. But I have an aunt who has a 75th birthday coming up this weekend, so the family's getting together to celebrate her and her life. And gotta show up right. There's a whole like dress code theme and stuff. Colors are red, black, and silver, so I gotta make sure I come correct and come with the hair looking good. But yeah, I thought I was gonna get on here and just be staring at a wall the whole time. So I appreciate each and every one of you that has come in here and interacted with me. '75 is a blessing. Folks in my family seem to live for a long time. I already got the red shirt on, right? It's no jeans and no sneakers though, so I actually got a red button up that I'm wearing, and I'm thinking about doing some flat twist, going halfway back in my hair, and then since there's not much men can do, because I feel like, you know, women, I was telling Tanya, like, you could wear a red dress today and then wear a different red dress tomorrow that looks completely different, and, you know, you got a whole new style. With men, if I wear a red button up, it's not like I can go buy a second red button up that's going to give a whole different style and look. So I'm a little limited in terms of the clothing, but I'm gonna put some lock jewelry in, some silver lock jewelry, because my cousin put on the invitations, dressed to impress. So make sure the fit is looking good. The locks will be freshly retied. We'll go ahead and do a little style and put some lock jewelry in too. How's it looking in the back? Can never see obviously as I'm doing it, but I feel like you can see scalp compared to up here where it's just puff, no scalp. And you probably can't see it on camera, but I do have, like I said, places where like there's a hair that's combining these two locks. So I do have to come in sometimes and pop a hair before I go in and start doing the retightening. But I'm surprised, 8 weeks in, and I'm not having many locks to pop, many hairs that are joining. So that's nice that we're almost 2 years into this journey, and I can go 2 months without doing anything to my hair except washing it. That one on the bottom is feeling a little sad though. Man, you talking about my little straggler that hasn't been assigned a home yet? Where is it? Did I accidentally tie it into some hair? I don't even feel it. Did I accidentally incorporate it into a lock and didn't even mean to? I think I did. I think I can feel it right here. Yep, I sure did. Look at that. It got incorporated to the lock, not even on purpose, but it's real loose so I can easily pull it out. It needs to be its own lock. It was a thick little chunk. And I don't typically go all the way from the bottom to the top when I'm doing these. I usually will go up until I get to this ear area, and then I'll start going from the sides, um, just because I get tired of holding my head in the same position for too long. It's like that one friend that just be inviting themselves into your house. Okay, just roll up without invitation. That's my daddy. He's gotten better about that now though, because I had to let him know, Pops, you can't just be showing up without letting us know. We might be out and about. It is. I'm telling you. He used to, because he's a very thoughtful person, and he's always looking out for his kids and trying to bring us stuff. You know, if he finds good deals on something, he'll buy it at the store and drop it off on his way home, or just little things like that. So it's coming from a good place, but he would literally just show up at our house, and I'm like, you have no clue what we're doing. We might have been in the middle of something, you know, before we had our second child. We could have, let me stop. Um, or, you know, the times that we would be out at the park with Tori or whatever, and he'd show up knocking and be like, hey, are y'all home? He'd call once he was already there, and it's like, no, we're at the park playing. Um, I wish you would let me know you were going to stop by, because we would have made sure we were there. Yes. That kind of stuff. Gotta stop myself. Sometimes I get to talking and forget that anybody can get on here and be listening. Don't want the childrens to hear nothing that might scar them. Did I do it again? Oh my gosh, y'all. This is the fourth time. Again, do as I say, not as I do. Please use clips or something until you are good at doing this on your own and catching it before you pull it too tight. Ooh, all right. Oop, 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 oop. About to knock my light source out. Come on, D. Get your life together. Alright, like I said, I only can go up so high before I gotta turn around. Ooh. Neck all stiff and popping. Alright. This right here is also some extra hair that didn't used to be a lock, but it was sideburn hair. Because I got some Ashanti sideburns that I actually usually shave up, but I had a bunch of extra hair, and I'm like, let me just stop shaving it and let it grow out and see if I can turn this into a lock. So I did a lock count probably, like I said, a year ago. Everything happened about a year ago. Space buns, absolutely. But yeah, and then that lock count video, I think, if I remember correctly, I was at 314. But since then, I've created a couple of new little baby locks like this one. So I think the number's a little bit higher than it was before. Have you ever had a lock break off while retying? No, I have not. Although I do have a fear of that. Um, Again, when you wait too long to retie, sometimes the hair at the base can be thin as it's grown out some. But no, I have not had any break off. I hope that I never do have any break off, but I'm confident that if one ever does break off, that I'll be able to reattach it using a crochet needle. But yeah, you see, this one, I'm trying to get it started. This one has unraveled so many times because it just doesn't want to But I think these last two retie sessions, it's been cooperating and it stayed tied. So I think we're good now. We got some loose hair on this one that just decided it didn't want to be in the lock anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that down the length of the lock before I start retying. And then just retie as I normally would. And I would say most of my mistakes or almost mistakes when it comes to combining locks happens in the back, just because, I don't know, technically I can't see what I'm doing here either, but because I can see my hands and see the lock when I'm doing this one, I don't know, I feel like I just make less mistakes, whereas in the back, and just because your hands are in the back of your head, so yeah, at least use clips in the back. How does your wife like your locks? Funny story. So when we met, we've almost been married. It'll be 10 years in June. But when we met, how many years before we got married did we know each other? Gosh, she's the one that's good at dates. So I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying the wrong amount of years. I think we're at 13, 14 years now of knowing each other. But when we met, I had locks. Because, like I said, we met in Russia. My wife is Russian. I lived there for 7 years, which is where we met. And outside of my black bandmates in the mirror, there weren't really any other black people there. But yeah, when we met, I had locks because before going over, I was like, okay, I'm about to go to a country where there's not that many people that look like me. I know doggone good and well there's not going to be any black salons that cater to black hair. So let me do a hairstyle that I can maintain myself and not have to be cutting my hair to do a fade every 2 weeks. So I chose to grow my hair out and do locks. And so when she met me with locks. Fell for me when I had locks. So I remember so I had my locks that journey in for 5 or 6 years before I was like, okay, I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to comb out my locks. And she so graciously helped me comb out each and every one of my doggone locks, which took about 2 weeks. But she, the first time I decided, she was so disappointed and just like so heartbroken. Because she was like, this isn't the man I fell in love with. This isn't who I married. Um, and now it's like a running joke in our family because every time I decide to end a lock journey, whether it's comb them out or cut my hair or whatever, she's like, okay, well, I'm not going to get worked up about it because they'll be back in 6 months. And she's pretty much right. Every time I've taken my locks out, uh, I've come back to the locked side within 6 months of it just because I miss it too much. You know, I scratch the itch of having short hair or having loose natural hair, whatever that round I choose, and then I end up being like, dang, I want my locks back. So she loves them, and I feel like she loves me more when I have them. How are we looking on this side? What would it take or what would cause you to cut them other than hair loss? Honestly, at this point, I don't even know, because in the past, by the time I got to like year one with my locks, with my other journeys, I was already considering like, maybe I want to do something different. Maybe I want to comb them out. This time I'm almost two years in, and there hasn't been one even thought or second where I was like, maybe I want to do something different with my locks. The only thing is hair color, which obviously after a year of having my hair black, I was like, let me lighten it up, to which I did. And then now it's been a year since I did that, and now I'm kind of like, maybe I should go back dark. But would I ever? I don't know. Now, when I think of the future of my hair, I think of what it's going to look like when my locks start graying, and, you know, if I'll look cool with gray locks. And I think I will. So I don't know that besides, besides having major hair loss to where it's obvious, I don't know that anything's going to have me cut my locks. I had to cut my locks for a job before, not with the job I have now, but I've had to end two lock journeys before because of the company and their doggone hair policies. That was before the Crown Act and whatnot. So, I mean, I'm hoping to have the job that I have now for a long time. But if I did have to change jobs, I it would have to be a job that was okay with me having locks, because I have no intention of cutting my hair off. Nope, I'm dead serious twice. Yep, where they like point blank told me, you know, we want you for this job. Everything checks out, but we would need, would you be comfortable with cutting your hair for this position? And it wasn't like a, would you be comfortable, we actually care about your answer and want to know. It was a, I'm gonna need a yes if you want to move forward in this process. Otherwise, we'll find somebody else for the job. Now, if the crown act wasn't in place, do you think you would still cut your hair? You mean if the crown act was in place back then, would I still have cut my hair? Um, that's a good question. I don't know. Honestly, I was younger when that happened, and I didn't understand my value in this world. Um, and I let other people, like a potential employer, tell me what my value was and what my worth was as a person, determined by the hairstyle or the hair that was on my head. But I think the me in 2023, not here for it. Yeah, definitely with who I am now, even if there was no Crown Act, yeah. In 2023, without the Crown Act, I wouldn't cut my hair for a job. Now, I say that, but also I need to provide for my family. So at the end of the day, if it came down to, I've been on 15 different job interviews, and the only thing that's keeping me from getting a job and providing for my family is my hair on my head, then yes, I will part ways with my locks. Um, but if it's not a situation like that, then no, I'm not cutting my hair for a position to make somebody else feel more comfortable, to make them feel good about themselves, or whatever their reason for wanting me to cut my hair. Uh, I need my work to speak for itself. My work ethic, who I am as a person. You should be able to see that through conversations with me, through things that I've done, and not base my merit off of my hair and how you feel about it. I appreciate you. Like, the FLocers for real, y'all are family. And it's weird because I've never met any of y'all before. And outside of the giveaway that I just did where I got some picture submissions, don't know what most of y'all look like, but I really do feel the love and the community from y'all. Oh, I would love that. That would be amazing to be able to make a living off of YouTube. That is a dream and aspiration of mine. And I feel like there's so many people who are doing it nowadays and who are in the space. So it's definitely possible. It's just a matter of sticking through with it and keeping your grind up. And not getting discouraged when you see the mediocre people on this platform or on other platforms who get up there and don't even do half the work or put in half the investment and stuff, but they end up getting millions of views and millions of subscribers. But that's a different topic for a different day. And we not gonna soil our mood in the middle of Black History Month. We still got a few days left to fully celebrate ourselves. And then when March comes around, we still gonna celebrate ourselves. Because quiet as it's kept and loud as it's told, Black history is American history. So we're not gonna box ourselves into one month of the year. Yeah, I've been thinking about broadening the niche and bringing in more people. I've tried to kind of do that through vlogging um, a little bit, just to partially because it's just fun. I enjoy vlogging. I enjoy all that goes into creation, like whether it's music and creating music or creating videos. I just enjoy the whole process. I'm a creative person, and so I would honestly do it regardless of whether anyone was watching me, regardless of whether or not I ever make any money doing it. Um, but I also know that YouTube and these other platforms, there's a game that you have to play, and you have to play towards the algorithm and stuff. Very rare that a person can get on and just post any and everything they want and that they have success with that. Most people, if you don't stick in some type of niche, where people can know what type of content to expect from you, they're going to keep it moving. Um, so hopefully thank you, saying you love seeing the vlogs and the family. So hopefully through the vlogs, we can open up that and more opportunities to see into my life outside of my hair, because I really do enjoy making hair content. But obviously, we're so much more than just that. So, and I know people be getting all sorts of sponsorships and deals as families and whatnot. Um, what's gosh, I'm not going to be able to think of their names off the top of my head, but one family that I follow and watch, gosh, what is their names? The wife is black, the husband's white. They have two kids, a son and a daughter, and they do family vlogs. Um, but I know at some point I was watching TV, Tony and I were watching TV, and I saw a Walmart commercial, and I was like, hold up, that's that family that we watch and follow on YouTube. So I know that there are possibilities out there. So let the chips fall where they may as time goes by. I've only been doing this seriously for a little over a year. It was last November when we were visiting some friends in Florida who he has a very successful YouTube channel. He teaches English I actually met him in Russian too, an American guy who started an English business over there and has carried it through and does online courses and stuff like that. And, you know, his YouTube channel is almost at 400,000 followers. And so when we were there staying with them, I was just trying to pick his brain and, you know, figure out keys to success and all that stuff. And he was giving me some advice and just talking about the grind and the work that he put in. And it really inspired me. And that was in November of last year. It was like right before Thanksgiving or right after Thanksgiving. And I literally came home and started making a plan. Charles and Alyssa. Is it Charles and Alyssa? Is that their names? Josh. I guess there are a lot of interracial couples on YouTube. No. Gosh, what are their names? Gabe and Babe. That's what their names are. Gabe and Babe. Them. Love their channel and their content. Oh, I hear the little one just got up from her nap. I don't know, I lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was saying before. Trying to chew gum and talk, walk at the same time. Oh, my friends in Florida. So yeah, so I came back and started making a plan, and I told myself, I was like, okay. At that point, I think I had like under 100 subscribers. I had like 70 something. How much longer do I have to tie? So looking at this, I mean, the sides I always go faster with than the top, just because, like I said, I have more control. But I probably have a good another, I would say, 3 or 4 hours left. So I'll probably end this live soon, and I'll finish up some more tonight, and then I'll actually finish the second half tomorrow. So yeah, I'd say probably another 4 hours. Hi, Jules. Hey. All right. But yeah, came back from Florida, made a plan, and I told myself I was gonna give a year to like pumping out content, being super intentional, and super focused on the craft. So I did. I was making 3 videos a week, putting out 3 videos, 3 hair videos a week, but that was rough, and I got burnt out real quick. So I did that for a full year, starting in December of last year. So this December of 2022 is when I hit the 1 year mark, and at that point, I wasn't monetized yet, but I had already hit the 1,000 subscribers. I hadn't hit the 4,000 watch time hours. I was still like 700 or something off. But yeah, that's what that's been like. How often do you retie? In the past, I have always retied at 5 weeks usually, and then sometimes 6 weeks. But right now, I'm at 8 weeks, or 7.5, going on 8 weeks. I think Sunday will be 8 weeks on the dot. So yeah. So we'll see what this next year holds. I am not doing 3 videos a week anymore, just because, like I said, that was a grind. That was no joke. I was waking up at 5 o'clock every morning so that I would have time uninterrupted with the kids still asleep to be able to plan and film content. And it went well for a while, but like I said, you burn out quickly when you're just grinding, grinding, grinding. I think I almost have 300 videos up on this channel at this point, so I put in a lot of work. you didn't have a week, come on, D, with your reading skills. Got on here and said your mom was an English teacher and you can't read. If you didn't have an event this weekend, would you have waited to retie? No, I would have still retied, honestly, because that was my plan, even if I wasn't going to a birthday celebration, just because I, my intention was never to go 8 weeks. Life has just been lifing, and every time when I told myself, okay, I probably should retie, I would check my roots and see that I didn't have a bunch of marrying. And so I was like, you know what? Let me push it out a few more days. Then a few more days turned into a week, and then a week turned to 2 weeks. And now I'm almost at 8 weeks and realizing that I'm okay pushing it to 7 to 8 weeks. Now the retie probably takes a little bit longer, but my hair isn't suffering because of it. Yeah, three is a lot. But trying to get the the watch time, that's the hardest thing. The 4,000 hours, because you don't get watch time from shorts. So you might make a short that gets 1,000 views or whatever, that might bring in a bunch of watch time, but you don't, that doesn't count towards the 4,000 that you need to get monetized. And so I was putting out 3 long form videos and I had fun while doing it, because if I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't have done it. Like I said, I don't do this, I haven't made any money off this channel yet. Well, we're keeping it real, because you have to hit a $100 threshold before you get a payout. And so even though I've been monetized since December, I have not gotten a payout yet. But I wouldn't do this if it was just for money. I wouldn't do this if I didn't enjoy it. So, whew, y'all. I don't even know what time we're at now, but I know we've been doing this for a while. My hands are tired. I need a restroom break, and I think my daughter is up, so I want to go in there, get a little bit more work done, and spend some time with family, because I have practice tonight. I'm leading worship at church this Sunday, so I gotta, but see, that's the thing with locks. It's beautiful. I'm not done, and I can take my hair down and go on to practice tonight, and nobody's gonna be looking at me like I'm crazy, like, why is your hair looking a hot mess? Because when you retie, you don't have to finish the whole thing before you go on and do other stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go get back to my work and spend some time with the family before I have to leave for practice. And then, like I said, I will do some more tonight, and then I will finish this up tomorrow. And maybe I'll come back on tomorrow when I'm closer up to the top and can show y'all more of the retie from the front, so you're not looking at the back of my head the whole time. But yeah, that's what we're looking like after however long we've been on here retying. We started getting some on this side, so we'll see where I am tomorrow after this. Whew. Arms are tired. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much for watching. Y'all FLocers always come through. I appreciate y'all more than I can even put into words. Thank you for being here. If you watch on the replay, make sure to like the video, comment. I love to interact. And yeah, if you're enjoying the live feed sessions or whatever, let me know. I like taking feedback. So if you'd like more of these live things, whether you want to do question and answer or something else, let me know. I will make it happen. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all next time.